So initially, when you sketch this out, they don't show too much of it, but when you think of a gesture drawing, it's kind of a quick sketch of the action, and since this dog is kind of leaping in the air, just barely touching the ground, kind of gives this action of this related to the spinal column, so kind of building it up off of that section. And again, these characters with the circular shape for the head, the center line, and in this case with the snout kind of extending it further, and still looking at how this relates as far as the drawing gesturally here. This is kind of a gradual turn, kind of a big motion, and even the jaw comes down, so it's kind of swooping around with this extra line. And then as it starts to build into the kind of the torso, the rib cage of the animal, or even if it's a character, human character, and then the pelvis. And if you can see something like this through the arms going on the opposite side, where the shoulder would be, kind of a cartoon anatomy is what it's coming down to, that it's going to have these motions, and as instead of making this just a straight line, let it be a curved line. This one's kind of extended for the front piece, for the front arm coming out. As you get into the back of the hind legs, they overlap the pelvis. They don't really show like where the hip bone would be or the femur kind of coming down, but if you know the anatomy of a dog, you're pretty well off there. But it sets this piece up. It's a little tricky. Three angles, and then trying to look for the general shape of this, building that piece up, and then any circular shapes. Always going back to a geometric shape is going to be helpful, putting that together. And so you have this, and you can see that it's flying through the air, so it kind of has this motion, and that's what's going to give you a little bit of the addition to it. So once you have the kind of, like I say, the gesture, the initial sketch, then you can kind of focus, and it helps if you have the you don't have to start with the head first, but it does give you a little bit of help. So again, here's the elliptical shapes wrapping around. Here's another opportunity for that gesture from side to side, left to right. The eyebrows are an extension or an echo, if you will, from the eye itself. And then go inside. Here's this kind of a cheek. You can't see the other side of it, but you can draw it in lightly just to help build your proportion. There's a slope or a squash and stretch effect for the head. This one shows a little bit of a kind of an iris in the dog here, and these lids, so it kind of has a central segment to it. Not a lot of detail given, so you have to kind of improvise on it. Coming into this section, so this mouth down to the lower part of the head. And again, the same coil for the open mouth, even though the tongue is out. And let the tongue rest right in there. Tongue, just like the ear, kind of a free-flowing shape. And even the nose, finding that center line for these two sections for the nose. And a little bit of that. So once you get a little bit of the beginning part, it makes the rest easy. The neck coming in. There's a collar, but if you could see a cylindrical shape fit right into that. And the thickness of the collar stretched out because of the motion of the dog running. Building that part up. And then just kind of coming down and working in some of the rest of the figure. So there's kind of the front piece, a little bit back of the torso showing these wrinkles. always showing some of those parts. But now here's where the cylinders take over. And you want to kind of indicate that elbow. And again, wrapping this part with the paw. Here's the kind of the finger idea. Building that up. Can't see the other shoulder, so to speak. Just draw right through the object. There's a cylinder. It's tapering up. And wraps around, so it kind of has like a sleeve. A little bit of the paw pads of the feet there. Coming up on the back legs. So again, the shape of the tail can be a part of the action. Just kind of getting that feel to it. Build that piece up. And little things, when you get the outline, the thin and thick again, letting some of these pieces thin up at the top, thicker down at the bottom. This part that shows the difference of the paw, wrapping that around. Same with the back leg. It's drawn through this character. These are the hind legs. So pretty much you have the outline based off of the form, trying to help with the thin line. Just go in a little bit with the ear. That piece across. There you have it. Now it's just a matter of going through again and cleaning up some of these edges here. Trying to throw some shading in there as well. And any opportunity you can to do the crosshatch, cross contour. Build that shape up. Again, going down, dark value there. vector up, even into the ground plane there.